Snoop Doggy Dogg was a teenager running the streets of Long Beach, California. It was during those years that he met and fell in love with Shante Taylor. Decades later, their love story has survived some ups, downs, twists, turns, lies, infidelity, and this interesting period of his life.
Listen, it gives me great honor to present this Pimp Player of the Year Award, lifetime, #1, no other, #1 on the chart, Snoop Dogg, Eastside, LBC, Snoop Dogg!
Here's a look inside Snoop and Shante's marriage.
Feeling hungry? Head over to rrgsnacks.com to purchase a bag of our gourmet popcorn. Available in several flavors. Now you can enjoy our super messy videos, all while getting your grub on. Use code POPPIN20 to receive 20% off your first order.
During the late 80s, as a 10th grade student at Long Beach Polytechnic High School, Snoop and his friend dressed up like pimps for their school's Halloween contest, and a female classmate volunteered to be attached to a leash and walked across the stage. Snoop told Rolling Stone it was his first taste of a lifestyle he had admired for most of his childhood. But before he could turn that dream into reality, life took him in a different direction. At a high school football game, he met fellow student Shante Taylor. According to Salon.com, Snoop approached her and told her she was pretty. As they began talking and started to get to know each other, Shante was interested, but she wasn't too fond of Snoop's friends, so she turned him down. So what was so wrong with his friends? Well, Snoop was hanging around the Rollin' 20s Crips, an infamous street gang. He didn't appear to be on the path of success, although his mother tried to keep him on the straight and narrow. When he wasn't performing at local house parties, he was selling substances and getting into trouble. After Shante rejected him, Snoop returned to her doorstep 1 month later and told her he was a changed man. He wasn't hanging out with the Crips as much, and he wanted to prove to her he was serious about being in a relationship. Snoop told Vlad TV he formally introduced himself to Shante's mom. He also went above and beyond to win Shante over by calling her on the phone and writing her love letters. After 4 months, they finally locked lips. Shante was ready to give him a chance, but his old ways would wreak havoc on their lives for many years to come. Shortly after graduating high school, Snoop got locked up on a possession charge. He spent the next years in and out of jail, and Shante stuck with him through it all. We can't get into every single incident where he was the target or the aggressor, but let's just say Snoop was falling deeper into a darker world where he was in constant danger. Sometime around 1990, he linked up with Nate Dogg and Warren G to form a group called 213. Warren had been trying to get his older stepbrother, Dr. Dre, to listen to their demo, but Dre wasn't taking them seriously. It wasn't until Warren slipped a 213 demo into the tape deck at Dre's friend's bachelor party that Dre decided to give them a chance. Dre invited them to the studio and immediately took them under his wing. Snoop moved out to Hollywood to kickstart his career, and hip-hop lovers were immediately drawn to his laid-back flow. Snoop was signed to Death Row Records, and Shante managed the early years of his career. He was featured on the album Deep Cover and Dre's infamous 1992 album, The Chronic. Doggy Style debuted at #1 and has since gone 7 times platinum. Music success wasn't the only thing Snoop got to celebrate. In 1994, Shante gave birth to their son, Corday. He released his last album on Death Row entitled The Dogfather in 1996, which had moderate success and featured Charlie Wilson of the Gap Band. And in February 1997, he and Shante welcomed their second child, Cordell. That same year, they got married. But there was someone who wasn't too happy about the news. A woman named Lori Holman had a relationship with Snoop that went back to their high school days. She told Star Magazine everything was fine between them, up until she heard on the radio that Snoop had married Shante. Lori said, "Calvin told me I wouldn't understand, and he was right. I wanted nothing to do with him." But they still met up one last time, and Lori got pregnant. When she gave birth, Snoop was reportedly there with her in the hospital. They welcomed Julian into the world in 1998. And as Snoop grappled with how he would break the news to Shante, he also took financial responsibility for his son. After Tupac and Biggie lost their lives as a result of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry, Snoop was done with the gangster lifestyle. He left Death Row Records and signed with No Limit Records for a fresh new start. In 1999, Shante gave birth to their daughter, Corey. A few years later, Snoop met Bishop Don Magic Juan, a legendary Chicago pimp turned minister. They formed a tight friendship, and Snoop inched one step closer to the pimping lifestyle he had always been drawn to. Snoop began an acting career and released a couple more albums with No Limit before launching his own label called Doggy Style Records. In 2003, he showed up at the MTV Awards with 2 women on leashes. Neither woman was his wife, Shante. He told Rolling Stone he was there to let people know he was officially a pimp. With some guidance from the Bishop and actor Max Julien, who played Goldie in The Mac, Snoop started his own operation. He told Rolling Stone he had women standing on every freeway exit in Los Angeles and instructed them to recruit other women as well. He had strict rules for all of them. They never talked back, they always got their payment up front, they never looked in another pimp's eyes, and they always kept their heads down. Many of his customers were professional athletes, and after they would pick their girl, Snoop would give them a dollar amount. He told Rolling Stone that in front of other people, he would snatch the money away from the women and pocket it. But behind closed doors, he would always give the money back to them. He wasn't even taking a profit for himself. He said it wasn't about the money, it was about living out his dream. The good thing about his new profession was that Snoop separated himself from the drama and beef. Instead of getting in trouble, he was going to the Players Ball Pimp Convention and going to his hair appointments with the Bishop. The Bishop became his mentor, advisor, and companion while out on tour. And what did Shante have to say about all of this? Snoop said Shante tolerated it at first because she knew it was something Snoop had been infatuated with since childhood, but their marriage slowly began to suffer. Snoop teamed up with 50 Cent for the PIMP remix. And during an interview with Vlad TV, he admitted he fell in love with one of the women who was working for him. In May 2004, he filed for divorce. Shante told Sister to Sister magazine she was understanding about the entire situation. She also blamed the women who were constantly trying to get Snoop in bed and said he was under too much pressure from all the temptation. He fell further into the lifestyle, but in late 2004, some of the pimps told him to cut it out and go back home to his wife. During an interview with the late Larry King, Snoop said it took a whole lot of begging and pleading for Shante to give him another chance. He also knew he had to make some major changes in order to continue being her husband. He told MTV he fell back in love with her, and he even sat his children down and told them he had made a mistake and he wanted to be a family again. He ripped up the divorce papers, and in January 2008, he surprised Shante with a vow renewal ceremony at Charlie Wilson's ranch. That same year, their family made their reality TV debut in a show called Snoop Dogg's Fatherhood. Little did they know, one of the viewers of the program just so happened to be Snoop's son, Julian, and he was ticked off. Julian and his mom sold their story to Star magazine. Julian, who was 9 at the time, expressed his anger for not being asked to appear on the reality show. He and his mother also provided paternity test results to the publication to prove Snoop was his father. Julian's mom also revealed Snoop and Julian had been estranged for 5 years, even though Julian spent a lot of time with Snoop's mother. Thankfully, as of this video, it appears that Snoop and the entire family have a very close bond with Julian. The years passed, and in 2019, rumors emerged that Snoop had been cheating on Shante again. This time, it was with Instagram model Selena Powell. Selena even posted screenshots of their alleged messages and claimed they exchanged intimate photos with each other. Snoop responded by releasing a promo video for his new show, Clout Chasers, which included a clip of Selena on DJ Academic's web series where she admitted to lying about getting pregnant by Offset of the Migos. Snoop said he corresponded with her only to use her as an example for the show. Snoop has gone on to apologize to Shante for his mistakes in Problems remix for Don't Be Mad at Me featuring Freddie Gibbs. In his lyrics, he shows remorse and says he's ashamed for almost losing his queen from around with that lame. It looks like Shante will honor her vows and remain by Snoop's side, and Snoop is committed to her more than ever. In June 2021, he hired her as his official manager through her company, Boss Lady Entertainment. In a statement, Snoop said, "Shante has been guiding my career behind the scenes from day one. I wouldn't be where I am today without her." Snoop continues releasing new music, including his 18th studio album, which debuted in 2021. He was also appointed as Def Jam's executive, creative, and strategic consultant. As for Shante, she announced she's releasing a biography called Paid the Cost to Be the Boss Lady sometime in 2021. Their children are flourishing and thriving, and Shante and Snoop are also completely in love with their grandchildren. In June 2021, they celebrated 24 years of marriage, and we wish them many more years of love and scandal-free happiness.